Good evening. Welcome to another flimsy version of Diatribes from the voice of doom. Now here's your flummoxed and flamboyant host, voice of doom. Hello. Alright, it's 4:10 a.m. Pacific Standard, or whatever time. And I did a diatribe earlier tonight and listened to it, and it bored the hell out of me, so I decided I'd do it again. I very rarely do my diatribes over again, but if you save everything, then it becomes less valuable. So I'm going to do it again. I was talking about more Buddhist philosophy and concepts, and I read a passage about the three calamities, and I bored myself to tears when I was listening to it. So in the middle of downloading it, I canceled it. I'm going to try to explain it without reading, because once I start reading, it gets dry. The three calamities basically are inflation, warfare, and pestilence. These were denoted in Nichiren's Buddha's writings, and those were the calamities that people were mostly concerned about in 13th century Japan. So he talked about grain prices, and that's to be associated with inflation as one calamity, food shortages. Another calamity being warfare amongst people of various ilks. And the third one being pestilence, which is not only pestilence due to disease, viruses, bacteria, rampant dying from pandemics, but it also denotes the pestilence of mental illness, which is rife in our world today. So I think I can explain it better if I just explain it rather than read. The three calamities are caused basically by slandering the true law, slandering true Buddhism, but it's also being disrespectful and antagonistic toward true Buddhism. Now, most people don't even think about Buddhism, and they're certainly not antagonistic about it. They basically are believing in some of the major concepts of Buddhist thought while still adhering to their religion, which is fine. More people believe in karma, more people believe in cause and effect, and more people believe in so-called reincarnation, which is a very complex subject. Buddhists don't refer to reincarnation, but we refer to life being eternal, and the 10 worlds and the 10 factors and everything else that makes the karmic mechanism that causes you to be reborn again and again. But we won't get into semantics, because I want to talk about these calamities. Now, each calamity is associated with a poison. There are the three poisons. The three poisons are greed, anger, and stupidity. Anger as opposed to the world of anger. The poisons of greed, anger, and stupidity are the qualities which cause so much trouble in the world today. So how do you associate? Well, you associate greed with inflation. In the case of The sutras say that the basic causes of the three calamities are human desire and greed. In the case of inflation, if more people want stuff, if they want to hoard, it causes prices to go up. There's any number of ways that can happen. Anger is the basic cause of warfare, and stupidity is the basic cause of pestilence. Now, these are all negative attributes or attitudes or states of being. Calamities, inflation, warfare, pestilence. Now, let's just start one by one. Talk about inflation. We're seeing it all the time. How is it caused? It's caused by greed. It's caused by a shortage of food or too much money in the system, which means everybody is, vying and competing for the same goods, causing the price to rise. And it's just one of the calamities that we're facing in the world today, and it's not going to get any better because the price of gas is going to go up again this summer. It's going to cause a big problem because Petrie sold off the reserve oil supply, and he can't get any of our enemies to sell us any oil, so he better get cranking on those electric cars. Now, warfare. We have been stoking the flames of war since 1946. After World War II was over, the powers that be of what used to be America decided that the best way to keep our economy stable is to have a constant state of war on this planet, and we will be the military-industrial complex which provides the arms for other people in other places to blow themselves up. We don't want to get blown up ourselves. When we get blown up, we have a cow. But we can send lots of bombs to Ukraine, we can fortify Taiwan, and we can send bombs to Serbia, or send bombs to former Yugoslavia, or send bombs to wherever, Syria or the Afghan army, or to any army in the Middle East, and they will do our bidding for us and then eventually turn on us. So that's how warfare works. We're going to pay a heavy, heavy price as a country for perpetuating the military-industrial complex and basing our economy on war, on basing it on death. America is a very noble, or what used to be America is a very noble country which believes in freedom, liberty, the rights of all, equal rights, what have you. America is very fair. But unfortunately, since we based our economy on the perpetuation of war in other places, we're going to pay. We're going to be punished. And don't even look at me and say, well, I didn't do anything. Yes, you did. We all did. We all turned a blind eye. We're fine with Northrop and Raytheon and Rockwell and Lockheed building bombs and planes and jets if it perpetuates our economy. Because you have a robust economy in Southern California building these things, and that provides, the money to buy other things, and you have goods and services. You have a whole economy running off this cottage industry called war. So that's the second calamity. The third calamity, pestilence. That is associated with stupidity. Why? Well, pestilence is a preponderance of mental disorders, and it is also a preponderance of epidemics and disease, infections spreading from person to person. Why is it associated with stupidity? Because we can't allow the natural course of human events to take place where a certain strain comes through, and a bunch of people get it and a bunch of people don't, and some get it and they build immunity, and some people unfortunately pass away. And instead of letting that happen naturally, we do something called gain of function. That's where the stupidity comes in. Let's make this strain worse so that we can treat it. We can figure out how to treat this worst thing that we created. So there's more pestilence coming. There's pestilence everywhere with mental illness across the board. In what used to be the United States, almost everybody's mentally ill, and I will put myself in that same group. And the reason I'm mentally ill is because I can see the future, and it's scary, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle it, because I talk a big game, but when the crap really happens that I'm thinking is going to happen, it's going to be utter chaos, and you better have a plan. I mean, people don't know what chaos is. That's the problem with this military-industrial nonsense. 3 or 4 generations have grown up in the lap of luxury, basically. Say what you want about poverty, but what used to be America was always high on the hog because we could print our own money and build our own bombs and sell our bombs to other people. So we've done well, and the problem is basically there's been 4 generations of people who have never seen hard times. They never had to struggle like our forefathers, who were lucky to make it to 45, because they had to struggle. There wasn't grocery stores. Every day was, how are we going to eat today? Are we going to go hunting, fishing? Do we have crops? You know, who knows how they had to live, but I know for a fact, just looking at my genealogy and my family tree, that many people died in a young age. So, my bottom line thesis is nobody's seen hard times, and when they see hard times, and I mean rioting, I mean no grocery stores, lockdown, I'm talking about curfews, I'm talking about martial law, I'm talking about no gas, no driving. How are people going to, a shutdown in 2020 is one thing. We could still get around, do things. How about when you can't? How about when you have to be home by 10 p.m. because they don't want people on the street for whatever reason, because there's nuclear waste everywhere, because there's marauding, because there's rioting, because there's all manner of chaos where they need to be draconian and, get order going. So that was my little thing on the 3 calamities. Now, let's talk real quick about Petri dish, because he is a satanic entity. He is a manifestation of evil. So the way I'd see it is, if the walls keep closing in on him vis-a-vis his 150 LLCs that were set up for all of his family members in order to receive free money from various countries like China, Romania, and Ukraine, then when the walls close in and they say, hey, wait a minute, this is irrefutable, this is objective reality, immutable truth, that you took money for no services rendered, and to say that you had no part of it because your grandchildren and your nephews and nieces and the dog and everybody else in your family is getting money in these weirdo accounts, you had nothing to do with it. So, on its face, poppycock. Objective reality. See, now I can use these Buddhist terms as I'm explaining Petri dish's evil malevolence. Objective reality, he's a criminal. Always has been, pretty much. And he's been a plagiarizer, he's been a fraud. But now he's in charge of taking his evil to a greater, higher level and bringing us all with him. But the way I see it, if he is the embodiment of everything that's wrong in this universe, as the walls close in, he could do just about anything to us. He could bomb a city. He could allow terrorists to bomb a city. He could allow so many people over the border that it becomes untenable. It already is, but untenable to the point where, wait a minute, we can't function at all. There's too many people coming and we can't deal with it. Just waves, tsunamis of people coming in. It's going to happen today. It should be happening right now as we speak, because Title 42 officially ended 4 hours and 25 minutes ago. So you see how the calamities apply to our everyday life, and we're going to face calamity. And I think this was a better diatribe than the one I just erased, so I hope you enjoy it. I had a few funny things to say, but I'll do that later. About some wokesterism crap. I'll leave it there. I think I said enough, and it's very late, and I don't know if I'm coherent. So, have a good night, and thanks.